Morning, guys. Today I'm going to talk about a new chapter. All right. So we should be at chapter 7, and this chapter talks about trigonometry. Okay, and we usually call it trigo. Short. Okay. So without further ado, let's start off with some terms you need to be familiar before you can do trigonometry questions. So this topic deals with mainly triangles, and to be more specific, we are going to talk about right angle triangle this chapter. All right, so this is your right angle triangle. Okay, and let me label the triangle first. So let me call this my triangle ABC, and you have this angle theta. Okay, and this is the next angle besides this right angle here and your angle theta here. And if you have this angle theta here, this side here is called the opposite side, OPP in short. Alright, so if this is your angle theta, so you don't see your angle theta here, right? So you just move this to the back. Okay, so yeah, you start to see your angle theta here. So if this is your angle theta, and this is the opposite side of the angle theta. Alright, now what about this side AB? Okay, the AB side is called the adjacent side. Adjacent. Okay, ADJ in short. Right, and last but not least, you have your this. This is the longest side of this triangle, and it's called the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse. Okay, HYP short. All right, so you need to be very familiar with all these terms. Okay, you have your angle theta here, or you can call it angle CAB as well, and opposite to the theta is called the opposite side, and right here over here is the adjacent side of the triangle, and last but not least, the longest side of the triangle is called the hypotenuse, HYP in short. Okay, so some of the students, they are confused which is the adjacent and which is the hypotenuse. Okay, there is a very easy way to identify the hypotenuse. Okay, always remember the HYP, which is the hypotenuse, is the longest side of the triangle. Okay, so this should be your first step. Identify your hypotenuse first, which is the longest side of the triangle. Secondly, what you can do is identify the opposite side first. Okay, so the opposite side is opposite to the angle theta of triangle. So when you have identified your hypotenuse, which is the longest side of the triangle, and after you have identified the opposite side, which is opposite to the angle theta of the triangle, in this case is here, and you are only left with your adjacent. Alright, so it's very easy to identify your hypotenuse, the opposite, and your adjacent. Okay, so in fact, for our convenience, I'm going to use just the first letter of each side to represent them. Okay, so for the adjacent, I'm going to use A, capital A. For the opposite, I'm going to use capital O. And for the hypotenuse, I'm going to use capital H, okay, to represent all of them. All right, so in fact, once you are familiar with all these general terms for trigonometry, you actually start to have some rules you need to remember. Okay, so without further ado, let me just get this slide to the next slide as well. Okay, over here, what I'm going to do is let me erase all of this first. I don't need all of this. Okay, what I do need is just this right angle triangle. So you have your angle theta here, and this is your A B C triangle. This is your angle theta, and I hope you still remember this is called the adjacent, and this is the opposite, and this is your hypotenuse. All right, so with this, by the way, this has to be a right angle triangle. Okay, so it has to be a right angle triangle before you can start to use the following rules. Okay, so for right angle triangle ABC over here, so you can actually use the following rules. So sine theta is equal to your O over H. Okay, let me write down the rules first. So rule number 1, rule number 2, and rule number 3. So let me write down the 3 rules first before I am going to explain 3 of them. So you have a cosine theta equal to your A over H. And last but not least, you have your tangent theta. And tangent theta is equal to your O over A. Alright, so over here you have 3 rules. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain the first rule first. Okay, the first rule is sine theta is equal to O over H. So what this rule number 1 means is if your theta is, let's say your theta is 30 degree, all right, and your this sine 30 degree is actually equal to your O over H, which means is equal to your CB, your side CB over your side AC. Okay, what this means is if you sine this angle, you are actually getting a ratio between two sides. So similarly, if you are going to use the second rule, cosine theta is actually equals to the ratio of A over H. So similarly, the tangent theta here is actually equal to your equal to the ratio of opposite over your adjacent. All right. So what these three rules are about is if you take sine an angle, you get a ratio between two sides. Similarly, if you take cosine an angle, you will get a ratio of two sides. And last but not least, if you take tangent angle, you will get a ratio between two sides. Okay, and you will start to see the ratio is actually different for sine, and the ratio is different for cosine, and the ratio is different for tangent. Alright, so how do you remember these three rules? Okay, actually there is a shorthand you can actually memorize to remember these three rules. So over here we talk about SOH is so, and this is called ka, and over here is called ho. Okay, so I hope you can see your this sine theta is equal to O over H. So this is your sine angle, and this is the ratio, okay, between your O and H. So similarly, if you cosine the angle, okay, and you will get a ratio between A and H. Okay, similarly, if you tangent an angle, okay, you get a ratio between O, A. And please note, okay, the ratio here is not your O to A, okay, for this example, okay. When you tangent an angle, you are not supposed to get, so basically you are supposed to get your O to A. Yes, so that's how you um, remember all these three rules using these three shorthands. Okay, so O to A is actually equals to O over A. All right. Okay, so this is in by the way, so this is in ratio format, and this is in fraction format. Okay, so all right, so that's how you can actually memorize these three rules. So once again, so ka to. All right, so without further ado, let's try all these three rules with one example. Okay, let's try these three rules with one example. So I'm going to use the example here. Okay, so let's assume this theta is equal to 30 degree. All right, and let's make use of, okay, before that, I think I need to give you more information. So let's start off with this is your, let's start off with this is 1 cm. Okay, so this means your this opposite side is 1 cm. All right, so now you are asked to find what is your adjacent and hypotenuse. Okay, so clearly to find your this adjacent, so what do you have? You have your theta and you have your opposite. So in order to find your adjacent, so I hope you can see which one of these three rules can actually give you this adjacent. Okay, so let's look at these three rules over here. Let's look at these three rules over here. All right, so which one of these rules has A involved? So you can see you actually pick your these 2 or 3, right? But over here for your rule number 2, you need to make use of your hypotenuse. Okay, over here you need to make use of your opposite, right? So you have your opposite here, so clearly you're supposed to use rule number 3. Okay, so rule number 3 is tangent, TOA, tangent, your angle is equal to the ratio between O and A. So your O is 1 and your A is unknown. You can actually find out, right? So how do you find out your A? Just solve this. You should get 1 divided by tangent 30 degree. Okay, so go to your calculator. Okay, go to your calculator. So I'm using my calculator right now. So find out 1 divided by tangent 30. Okay, so you're supposed to get your square root 3. All right. So if you want to express it in decimal number, so this is your decimal number for A. So choose three significant figure. Okay, just for convenience, let's take it to three significant figures. That's how you can figure out your adjacent, which is square root 3 or 1.73. I make use of rule number 3 told here. So now let's look at how we can figure out our h then. So you have your theta 30 degree and you have your opposite. By the way, it's given 1 cm by the question, and you are asked to find your h. All right. So basically, you have your angle, you have your O, which is your opposite side, and you are asked to find your h. So I hope you can see you need to use SOH. Why? Because sine angle is equal to the ratio between your O and H. And H is what you need to find, right? So make use of sine angle is equal to the ratio between your opposite, which is 1, over your H. So H is what you need to find, right? So your H should be equal to your 1 divided by sine 30 degree. Okay, so let me punch my calculator. So you're supposed to get the answer is 2. Okay, the value of H is 2. So that's how you can actually figure out your A and H using one of the 3 rules here. Okay, so your A is equal to square root 3 cm and H is equal to your 2 cm. Very simple. Okay, not so complicated, right? All right, so that's about it. So what we have learned today is trigonometry, the very basic concepts. So first thing first, you have to familiarize yourself with all these terms: your adjacent, your opposite, and hypotenuse. All right, so know what they are. Next, so make use of one of the 3 rules here. All right, and the shorthands to memorize these 3 rules are so, ka, to. All right, so you can actually make use of this so, ka, to to figure out your adjacent or your opposite or your hypotenuse of your right angle triangle. So please bear in mind, so very important over here, so it has to be a right angle triangle before you can make use of these 3 rules. All right, so that's about it today. So thank you for watching. Bye bye.